which is ridiculous. The series has no relation nor inspiration from PewDiePie at all. It's completely original content. How it works is that you guys submit fun Pokemon or MNB memes, fan art, whatever to my subreddit r/MG.
Oh yeah, I've got streamers on. Hello everyone, welcome to a Fortnite stream. Today you're gonna watch me rage at Fortnite, basically. Hopefully you're gonna watch. You might not, but I hope I don't die gliding.
Let's start this episode of Pokemon Meme Review. A vote to help Michael release his hate of the demonic cows. Go F yourself. Yes, Aegislash was a legendary this whole time. Oh my god, he's the mascot legendary. Incredible. Wouldn't that be so ridiculous if Aegislash was a Pokemon that was just on the box art? Oh my god. When Professor Oak isn't home, well, you may get away with it. Professor Oak is gone. But Pokemosis will know.
It looks good.
Pixel art for the starters. Very cute. I don't know who made that, but whoever made it did a good job. Upvote if you think the PT duo should host Ask Pitapon, known as Pokemon Meme Review. Maybe we'll do that at some point. But then it's like, is it an Ask Pitapie episode or is it a Pokemon Talk episode? Only Pokemon Talks fans will understand. I feel no man, but that thing, it scares me. So the only flaw with this meme is that we can see the floor tentacles. Consider this revenge for the clickbait on Pokemon Talk episode 50. What's the difference between a nose and Bulbasaur? People actually pick noses. Roasted for his clickbait. He deserved it. Kind of. Also. Oh, this one's cute. Yes, for those of you who are not aware, me and Jubilee did get engaged. I like that one a lot. That's very cute. She's not going to change her channel name because that would be terrible for branding decisions. But we are engaged. Yay! What you got there? A smoothie? God.
Right, I'm not gonna win a match. I can tell everyone that.
That's one of the funniest moments.
I'm just gonna pick it.
That is excellent. You get an upvote.
Right. Well, I'm in with the Crush Bandicoot strategy.
I laughed pretty hard the first time I saw it. When you're the personification of the weakness is ground. I have always thought that was ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh. If I ever do another things that don't make sense, that's going in there. To Michael's request for posting Pokemon collections, posting more memes. Yes, because Ask Pitapie and Pokemon Meme Review now mean the exact same thing. But Bert and Ernie is socked. That's pretty funny. No more Miltank memes. Michael, Alolan Michael. That one's good. Putting a Miltank meme on the subreddit. Putting a logical, well thought out meme on the subreddit so that Michael will appreciate you for not collaborating with Satan. Hurricane warning in this area. Media. Hurricane warning in this area. Check local media. Different Pokemon may be appearing in parks around you. It's a great time to explore. Pokemon Go Nuzlocke Challenge. Oh my god. That one's great. He went from having a bow.
He's gonna die. He's dead.
Oh, I can't believe I never noticed that.
Got him.
Jubilee and Pokemon Michael.
Oh, let's heal up.
Gobble. Gobble.
This max HP.
Oh my god, I love Gobble. That's so funny. Teacher seeing a kid getting bullied. Teacher seeing a kid hacking before they end up class.
Fight me.
No! Unacceptable!
Try me.
One backpack zip.
Hey, we're doing good.
3 minutes before class was over, it just started this stampede of people packing up, and the professor was like, "Stop it! My journey as a Pokemon trainer about to come to an end. Walk 2491 steps, Snorlax is so very happy, it's frolicking around. It seems like it will jump on your back." Oh, it was natural. Will Smith, lucky Will Smith.
Oops.
Tiny Will Smith, Alolan Will Smith. The whole of Michael's team, when they see him, they'll think, "Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary." And then, like this guy, they lose. Oh god, Score Bunny, look out. The firefighting types are coming. Oh heck. I like how this person censored the meme. Oh no, he has AirPods on. Oh heck. What if we...
Nobody's still mine.
Like, what is going on? But
I will heal up. These guys can come.
Oh man, there's a lot of great great ones. Oh, I follow this artist on Twitter. This guy's great.
Oh, we're doing good. Right, I think they also removed skill-based matchmaking because these are lobbies that my Switch puts me in, and I'm really good on my Switch. And people aren't really too good on Switch. And I find these quite easy on Switch, and I'm just garbage at PlayStation.
Oh, sobble, gobble, robble, bobble, wobble, jobble, double, trouble. And then there needs to be like Team Rocket, like right next to that. Double trouble. I love these memes. They're so silly. These are excellent. Lick a tongue is too close for comfort. Yeah, I remember when I was hunting Electabuzz. My shiny lick a tongue was behind me and just looked like it was just like licking my butt constantly. Congrats on getting engaged to longtime girlfriend, hottest PokeTuber. That's right. Exactly. For any of you guys who are not aware, I was officially confirmed to be the hottest PokeTuber guy. Alright? It's real. Let me show you. Hi, welcome to Trish TV. I'm Markham Sakura. And I'm Erica Clash. And today we'll be discussing our top 5 hottest PokeTubers. And at our number 1... That's right! That's right!
Okay.
It's me! Number 1! What the hell just happened? Google Chrome couldn't handle my hotness, apparently. One of my favorite PokeTubers, period, but one of the cutest ever. I'm a JTV, and then just doing like the usual top 10s. He does a lot of shiny hunting, streaming on Twitch and so forth. He's also just a really cute guy. He's just a lovable dope. And he's in good shape. I'm a lovable dope! That's right, that's me! Look at me, I'm splashing.
And lastly, one. So we're gonna grab a lead.
So, it's official, everyone. I'm the hottest PokeTuber. I will accept all praise. And constant reminders of that. Can we talk about the time James turned into Goku? Oh my gosh. Wow.
Okay, so that's second game done, and I'm actually having a lot of fun, not getting too raged.
Posting these memes on AskPitaPie, posting it on Lawat. So more people will go to Michael's channel, and he can finally get 1 million subscribers. Good luck with that. The fan base, when there's a new Pokemon talk set, say the line.
But it does look sad.
Happen to the floor! Yay! Greetings, Pokemon! Michael here. Oh god! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Miltank, not join them. You were to bring balance to the falls, not leave it in darkness. I hate you! You were my brother, Oregonian! I loved you! I like that I'm Obi-Wan in this situation. Just for the record, I'm the good guy in this situation. Thank you.
Same style.
Oh man, that's funny. Welcome home, son. How was the meteor shower?
Wait. Oh. For some reason, sometimes on my streams, the comments don't work. For some reason, I don't blame me. It's just sometimes that happens. I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna drop the first person.
To have a child, being born with a child, there you go. It's efficient. It works. Like submarine team Rocket. I like that one. But if you think you should do the final evolution of the Galar starters, those do look pretty cool. I would most certainly still pick Sobble if that's what its evolution looked like. If that's still you versus the starter slash meme she told you not to worry about. That's great. That moment when you drink water after eating a mint. Oh, that's so accurate. Gyarados. Hey, this is an old one, but it's a classic. I love Gyarados. That feeling when you're a water grass. You're about to get hit with a single blade of grass. Oh, bye. When you see Miltank memes instead of Pokemon Talk memes, I feel dirty. Yeah, Pokemon Talk memes are superior. The two possible outcomes of Squirtle and a hot Dragonair girl. Dragontoll and Squirtinair. Oh, I guess Squirtinair would just be like... I prefer Dragontoll. Dragontoll's very cute. Squirtinair looks weird. Another good one, yes. Miltank memes are acceptable if the Miltank... Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Pokemon Meme Review. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want a chance to have one of your memes, or whatever, featured on a future episode, link to my subreddit is down in the description. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to leave a like, comment below something. I don't care what you put, just this to me. And that is all I have for now. So until next time.
So it's gonna be a kitty coaster.
Greetings,
We are
fans.
100% not going to get in a win.
Video, I'll be covering 5 brand new Pokemon that I, along with
Hunch that anyone who watches these streams or those like Call of Duty,
So don't forget to subscribe to my channel
like
so I can hit
I
that
feel like
1
they
million sub mark
deep
soon.
down want me to
And
do an
finally,
Apex.
new Pokemon Sword and Shield. The first Pokemon is one
I could be wrong, but I'm gonna try it out anyways.
God, this thing is insane. That being number 1.
There's gonna be a crazy long stream when I find my Crush Bandicoot. Skunk Crush
While
Team
Water
Racing.
Dragon is really good defensive typing, its stats don't seem to be that incredible. Its best stat is its physical defense, which is only base 100, which is a bit low for a best stat. Gotta catch them all!
I'm gonna drop Holly Hedges.
That's it. That's the perfect roller coaster right there. Even these bees want to go.
Those elves.
Think my part is finished. I'm just gonna fill with flowers.
And then the rest of the stats aren't that far behind. It seems like a jack of all trades, but master of none type Pokemon. But what makes Dracovish special is that it possesses one of the most incredible and insane Pokemon attacks ever introduced. That being Vicious Rend. Vicious Rend is an 85 base power, 100% active physical water type move. Now at first glance that seems no better than Liquidation. However, if the user moves before the target, then the power of Vicious Rend doubles. As an extra bonus, Dracovish gets access to Strong Jaw, which gives a 50% power boost to all biting moves. And guess what? Vicious Rend is a biting move. So let's do a little bit of math here. Just a little bit, I promise. If Dracovish moves before the target,
Been shot.
it starts at an 85 base power, which is then doubled, then times 1.5 because of Strong Jaw, then times 1.5 because of the same type attack boost or stab. That makes Vicious Rend an effectively 382.5 base power move that's 100% accurate. And that's if the hit is neutral. If it's super effective, dear God, that is over 50 base power points higher than a super effective stab Hydro Pump. And Hydro Pump's only 80% accurate. It honestly doesn't even matter what other moves Dracovish can learn, because the clear strategy here is just make it as fast as possible via the use of a Choice Scarf or Tailwind, and then click Vicious Rend and kill anything that doesn't have Water Absorb or Storm Drain. Before I move on to the next entry though, I should mention that all 4 Galar fossils have access to a move that has the same effect, where it doubles in power if the user moves before the target. However, I'm only talking about Dracovish because it's far and away the best of the 4. Arctivish also gets Vicious Rend, but it's substantially slower than Dracovish is, and therefore is going to have a harder time being able to move first. And then Dracozolt and Arctozolt have an electric type version of the move called Volt Beak. However, it's far easier to block an electric move than it is to block.
I don't know why they removed it
block an electric move with any
with the Scubbies matchmaking it, because it annoys me.
to have Water Absorber Storm Drain. So
Because now this isn't, because this player is better than what my Switch goes up.
next Pokemon, which is one that I was actually wrong about in a previous video. That being number 2, Galarian Darmanitan. Galarian Darmanitan has an identical stat spread to its original form. Good speed, great HP, incredible physical attack, and garbage everything else. But what makes Galarian Darmanitan stand out more than original Darmanitan are its abilities. First I'll talk about its regular ability, Guerrilla Tactics, which is basically a built-in choice band. It only allows you to use the first move that you select, but you automatically get a 50% boost to your physical attack. This is an excellent ability, because while it is limiting, it allows you to get the benefits of a choice item twice. You're already locked into a move, so by tacking on another choice item, there are no extra drawbacks. The choice band can be used for absolutely absurd attacking power, and then the choice scarf can be used to make it so you're a hell of a lot faster. So that's one really good way to use Galarian Darmanitan, but its other ability, its hidden ability, is another fantastic way to use it. That being Zen Mode. If you don't know what Zen Mode does, it was around on Unova and Darmanitan too. And what it does is it causes Darmanitan to transform into its
we
Zen
are not
Mode
going
form
to win
when
this
its health
match.
gets below half. And Zen Mode form has a higher base stat total and a different spread than original Darmanitan, plus it changes types. This is the aspect of Galarian Darmanitan that I was wrong about. In my video from a few weeks ago about the top 20 new Pokemon in Sword and Shield, I talked about how Zen Mode Galarian Darmanitan was not going to be viable, and I said that because I assumed that the stat spread change was going to be the same as it was for original Darmanitan. When Unova Darmanitan morphs into its Zen Mode form after it gets below half health, its base stats switch it from a physical attacker to a special attacker. This is trash. This forces you to either invest only in special attack and then you only hit half health, so it effectively halves your defenses, or you're forced to make it up.
Bravo, I cannot ever win a match.
Other stats and also take up move slots. Zen Mode is horrible. When I saw that Galarian Darmanitan got Zen Mode as well, I just assumed that it would be a similarly bad change, where it switches it from a physical to a special attacker. Yeah, I was dead wrong. Zen Mode Galarian Darmanitan gives Darmanitan 20 extra base points in attack and 40 into speed. It also becomes an Ice Fire type Pokemon, which is dope, and also gives Darmanitan a stat boost. In other words, once the Darmanitan gets below half health, it becomes a faster and stronger Pokemon. The only downside is that its weakness to rock goes from 2 times to 4 times, but it also gains quite a few resistances too, so I think that balances out pretty well. So yeah, I was originally wrong about Galarian Darmanitan. Both of this Pokemon's abilities are excellent and expect to see it used in both ways in a lot of competitive formats. The next Pokemon is one of my favorite new Pokemon in this generation, that being number 3, Phalanx. Although, before I dive into the specifics of its battle prowess, I have a quick PSA. That being that Phalanx is not a freaking bug. I understand that many people thought Phalanx was some kind of weird caterpillar when they saw this picture of it specifically. That is understandable. I thought the same thing. However, when you see Phalanx in motion, it becomes exceedingly obvious that this is not a bug. It is 6 adorable little soldier Kirby's who look nothing like bugs. I understand not immediately knowing that it's based on the Phalanx war formation, but if you still think it should be a bug type after seeing the little guys move, well, you clearly live in some sort of location that has very different bugs than what I see around my house. Anyways, back to its battle prowess, because that is what I'm supposed to be talking about. Its base stats are nothing incredible. Its attack and defense are pretty solid, but the rest of its stats are middling at best. It does have access to Defiant, though, which is an incredible ability, especially in doubles where Intimidate is a huge factor. However, what makes Phalanx so impressive is its signature move. In exchange for not being able to switch out or flee the battle, Phalanx receives an Omni Boost, meaning that all 5 of its boostable stats are increased by 1 stage. Getting an Omni Boost in 1 turn is fantastic. That makes it so Phalanx can outspeed a ton of Pokemon it normally wouldn't. It boosts its physical attacking power. It bolsters its defenses. That is amazing. Yes, not being able to switch out is kind of a downside, but if it's late in a battle and your opponent has nothing left that can wall Phalanx, or maybe it's an already short battle like VGC where there's not as much switching, well, I think it's going to be pretty freaking amazing. I really hope Phalanx sees a lot of use in the competitive scene because I think it's a really creative and really adorable Pokemon.
Okay, so I'm trying to focus, that's why I'm not really talking.
First 4 were all physical attackers, so for this one I wanted to switch gears and instead talk about a special attacker. That being number 4, Poltegeist. Poltegeist has an interesting base stat spread. Most of its stats are underwhelming, but its special defense
Where the
is really solid,
HP
and its
item?
special attack is amazing.
Well, a med
What
kit.
kind of holds it back is its speed, which is not horrible, but
I normally dislike floppers, but now, whenever I need a flopper, I'm in a location where I can't get them.
if you somehow don't know what that does after all of the generations that it's been a big deal, Shell Smash lowers the user's defense and special defense by 1 stage.
Okay, so full shield.
For boosting its attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages each. This, of course, makes Poltergeist a heck of a lot faster if you can get one off. Plus, it pairs nicely with its ability, Weak Armor, which causes Poltergeist's defense to drop by 1 stage every time it's hit by a physical attack, but in exchange, its speed raises by 2 stages. It has 2 reasonably solid ways to get around its middling speed. But another really awesome thing about Poltergeist is that it has access to Stored Power, which is a special type psychic move that starts at only 20 base power, but gets 20 points added for every positive stat change the Pokemon has. So, for example, if a Pokemon is at +2 physical attack, then their stored power would be at 60 base power. This pairs fantastically with Poltergeist's Weak Armor and Shell Smash. If you use Shell Smash one time, stored power goes from 20 base power to 140, which is more powerful than a Stab Shadow Ball. If you use Shell Smash and you also get a Weak Armor speed boost in the same turn, then stored powers is suddenly 180 base power. It is incredible that this Pokemon has stored power, Shell Smash, and Weak Armor.
Every match I do good, I get into a lake and I get wrecked.
Together, and no other Pokemon has this combo. And now it's time for the final Pokemon.
Wait.
And since the first 4 were more offensive Pokemon, I wanted to talk about a really good defensive Pokemon. That being number 5, Galarian Corsola. And yes, Corsola, not Cursula. Galarian Corsola has stats that are almost the same as original Corsola. It loses 5 base points in HP and speed in exchange for gaining 5 points in both defense and special defense. However, it's still pretty underwhelming in the base stat department because its total is only a measly 410. But Galarian Corsola is so much better than regular Corsola because it can use an Eviolite. In case you didn't know, an Eviolite is a held item that boosts the holder's physical and special defense by 50%
I got this.
if it can still evolve. So regular Corsola can't make use of this because it can't evolve. But Galarian Corsola, since Cursula exists, gets the Eviolite boost, boosting its already fantastic defenses 50% each. This really outshines Cursula because Cursula's base defenses are only 50 and 30. Both of which end up being worse than Galarian Corsola's with an Eviolite. Sure, Cursula does hit way harder offensively, but since it's so freaking slow, it's really only usable on a Trick Room team. Whirlpool lets it trap opponents that are walled by it and do chip damage. Nightshade allows it to have consistent damage output even though its attack power is lacking. Strength Sap is a great recovery move, especially when facing off against a physical attacker. And Will-O-Wisp is also, of course, amazing, because burns are fantastic ways to get more chip damage and cripple physical attackers as well. While its regular ability, Weak Armor, doesn't pair well with its role as a tank, its hidden ability, Cursed Body, is substantially better. Cursed Body gives a 30% chance to disable the opposing Pokemon's move every time they use it, so if you've trapped them in with Whirlpool and maybe their choice, then they're gonna have to struggle. Galarian Corsola definitely matches up better against physical attackers due to Strength Sap and Will-O-Wisp, but hey, there's a lot of those out there, and it's not going to be bad against special attackers either. Overall, Galarian Corsola is going to be an impressive defensive force to be reckoned with, and it shouldn't be overlooked simply because it's not an offensive sweeper. So there you have it. Those are 5 new Pokemon that I think are going to make a big statement in the Gen 8 competitive scene. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and want to see the same format.
I'm too slow, so I'm not going to push him because I feel like he's got more.
Thanks so much for watching, and an extra special thanks to my patrons on Patreon who are helping to support me in a way independent of the fluctuating YouTube ad revenue. If you want to help support me in the same way, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. If you want to check out my Let's Play on my second channel, MJTV Plays, you can click right here. And if you want to check out some more fun Pokemon content, you click up here. For now, so next time, advance. Gotta catch them all.
Your kitchen kind of looks a little less boring.
Greetings, weekends! Michael here, and a few months ago, I made a video talking about about what the rarest Pokemon in every main series Pokemon game was. That video did not include Pokemon Sword and Shield because, obviously, it wasn't out yet. But now that the games have been released, I figured they should be covered. However, determining the rarest Pokemon in Sword and Shield, well, it's pretty freaking complicated. In the older games, it was pretty easy to figure out. You got Pokemon by random grass encounters, and that was basically it, since the other encounter and obtaining methods of breeding or static encounters or gift Pokemon don't really have a rarity associated with them, so figuring out the rarest Pokemon was as simple as figuring out which Pokemon have the lowest encounter percentage in the fewest number of places. But Sword and Shield make things a heck of a lot more complicated. You've got random grass encounters, you've got overworld encounters, you've got overworld strong spawns, you've got max raid battles. Change every day depending on the weather. It's a mess. However, despite the complexity, I think I've succeeded in coming up with a numerical way to figure out what the rarest Pokemon in Sword and Shield are. It's not going to be perfect, and it's going to get a little bit mathy, and I've probably made some mistakes at some point. But I tried my best to figure out what the rarest Sword and Shield Pokemon are in the most numerical and objective way possible. Before I get started, there are going to be some exclusions, just like there was in the first video. One of those is Pokemon that have no chance associated with obtaining them. So, static encounter legendaries, or gift starter, or you do a certain thing and then you get the Pokemon. There's no randomness involved, other than trying to hunt for the specific type of fossil that you want. Percentages for those, and you're hunting for the item, not the Pokemon. I will also be excluding shiny Pokemon because obviously the shiny version of a Pokemon is more rare than the normal version, so it would be redundant to just say the shiny version of this particular species. I'm just focusing on plain old regular species in this video. Speaking of species, individual members of an evolutionary line are different species, so they will be counted totally separately. Also, I'm going to be figuring this out as if no exploits were possible. So, in other words, I'm going to pretend as if changing your switch clock to impact the weather in the game is not possible. It'd get way too messy to factor that in. Alright, I think that covers all of the exclusions, so before we get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel, you know, in case you haven't. I'm almost at 1 million subs, so it'd be cool to hit that thing. But now we can start with what exactly are the rarest Pokemon in Sword and Shield. And I say what are rather than what is, because it's not really easy to determine the definitive single Pokemon that's the rarest because of the layer of complexity added due to max raid battles. Now we do have data for the exact encounter rates battles. If you use a wishing piece on a particular den, we can know the exact chance of a certain Pokemon showing up to a degree, assuming we know whether the den has spawned a common red beam or a rare purple beam. And we also know the star level of the raid that shows up. We know the exact odds of a certain species showing up. But that's it. We don't know the chance of the beam being red versus purple, and also don't know the individual chances for what star level of raid will show up, which is also impacted by how far into the game you are. So, there's a lot we don't know. Additionally, we don't know the odds of any particular den spawning a raid on its own without a wishing piece, and there's the added layer of complexity of being able to get Pokemon from raids from other people's games that you normally wouldn't be able to. I have caught Shield exclusives in my Sword version because I joined someone's raid who was playing Shield. Max raids clearly make rarity calculations too complicated, so I'm going to keep them separate. I'm going to figure out the rarest max raid boss Pokemon, assuming you stand at a den and throw a wishing piece in. That's it. They're their own thing. It would be too messy to combine them with all the other stuff. Without a doubt, the rarest max raid boss Pokemon are some of the Gigantamax Pokemon. And I say some for a reason that I'll explain in a little bit, but before I dive in, there's an exclusion that I have to go over that I didn't mention earlier, those being event dens. If you didn't know, there is currently an ongoing event in the wild area, dramatically boosting the spawn rate for certain Pokemon, including several Gigantamax Pokemon. Those are Gigantamax Butterfree in both games, Gigantamax Dreadnought and Sandaconda in Sword, and Gigantamax Corviknight and Centiskorch in Shield. These spawns are boosted by the use of an event den that has its own encounter table, and this event den can spawn at any location in the entire wild area. This makes these event den Pokemon so much easier to find than they would be otherwise. However, when the event is over in January 2020, these Gigantamax forms are going to become super freaking rare like so many of the other Gigantamax forms. But, in exchange, some other Gigantamax Pokemon will probably take their place and become far easier to find. Because of the temporary nature of the events, I didn't think it made sense to include Event Den in my discussion of what the rarest max raid boss Pokemon is, because something that's rare right now may not be in a couple months, and something that is not rare right now will be substantially rare in a couple months. The events make things too complicated, so we're gonna act as if the events don't exist. So the rarest max raid boss Pokemon are, as I said, some of the Gigantamax forms. And more specifically, it's the ones that are only found in one den, and only in 5-star raids, and only have a 5% chance of showing up. And that 5% is if the raid is determined to be a 5-star raid. Of all the possible 5-star Pokemon, there's only a 5% chance of it being the Gigantamax.
That's very annoying.
As I mentioned earlier, we don't have the exact data for what the chances are for a rare purple beam to show up, since all Gigantamax forms outside of events only show up in purple beams, and we don't have the percentage chance for what the different star levels will be every time a particular raid is generated. But we do know that they're extremely freaking rare, and you basically only see the rare Gigantamax forms if someone's doing the exploit. The Gigantamax Pokemon that are found under this extremely rare criteria differ depending on what version you're playing. In Sword, they are Charizard, Machamp, Garbodor, Corviknight, Dreadnought, Colossal, Centiskorch, Hatterene, Capparaja, and Duraludon. In Shield, the list is the same, except replace Machamp and Colossal with Gengar and Lapras. The other Gigantamax forms that are currently available are certainly very rare, but they can be found in more than one den or at more than one star level. So that covers the rarest max raid boss Pokemon, but now that I have covered that, from here on out, I'm not taking into account max raid battles at all. As I said, they're super complicated, so adding that when figuring out the rarity of all the other Pokemon, it's just going to be too much. So max raid battles, we're done discussing.
I'm sad about getting
Pokemon that's not as complicated as max raid battles, but still kind of weird. But before we dive into that, I want to let you guys know that I'm doing a Black Friday / Cyber Monday sale on my merch store. Several old limited designs are back and available. And also you can get 10% off the entire store if you use code GRAPPLELOCKED at checkout. My patrons actually get an even better discount code, so if you're a patron, check your Patreon feed. This sale will only last until the end of the day on Tuesday, December 3rd. So if you want one of these limited designs and you want to save some money on some merch, go get it right now, links in the description. Anyways, back to what I was discussing. The other kinda weird method are strong spawns. You may have noticed in the wild area that there are several Pokemon wandering around separate from the other
I hate this game.
They're not in the grass and they don't despawn unless you encounter them or wait until the next day. These are widely known as strong spawn Pokemon, and they have much higher levels than the other wild Pokemon you find. We have the data on which strong spawn Pokemon can show parts of the wild area and under which types of weather. However, data on the percentage chance of a certain spawn point generating a certain species of Pokemon. We know Milotic's a heck of a lot rarer than Gyarados, but we don't know how much rarer. Therefore, I had to come up with another method of determining what the rarest strong spawn Pokemon were. First, I looked at a list of all the strong spawn Pokemon and eliminated all of the ones that do not show up anywhere else in the wild area as a strong spawn specifically. Then I looked to see if that particular species can show up anywhere else in the Galar region via any other method other than max raids. If they can't be found anywhere else, they are again eliminated. Then of the remaining Pokemon, I looked to see how many different weathers they can show up under. As a result of all this elimination, the rarest strong spawn Pokemon are those that only show up in one area of the wild area, show up nowhere else in the game, and only show up during one weather.
Right, so let's lose another match.
Curlia, Vespiquen, Mime Jr., Lucario, Weavile, Chandelure, Aegisflash, and all of the evolutions except Glaceon, since Glaceon can show up in both Snow and Snowstorm. If you are exploring the wild area and see one of these Pokemon running around, you should catch it, because it'll be there tomorrow. So now I've figured out the rarest Max Ray Boss Pokemon and the rarest Strong Spawn Pokemon, totally separate from the other encounter methods, because they kind of need separate. So now all that's left is determining the rarest Pokemon in the more traditional encounter sense of both overworld and random pass encounters and fishing. But these I can combine together, it's just kind of complicated. There are two main factors that cause this complication. The first is the difference between overworld encounters and random grass encounters / fishing. Overworld encounters, you can see multiple Pokemon at once, so the effective encounter rate is substantially higher because you don't have to enter a battle and wait for it to start to see what the Pokemon is. Random grass and fishing, you have to find an exclamation point and run into it and then see what it is. It's not what you want? Run. Try again. It's much slower, so the encounter rates mean more. And the second factor is weather. Weather in the wild area dramatically impacts the spawns that will show up in any given area on any given day. And it makes Pokemon more rare than they would be otherwise. For example, a Pokemon may have a worse encounter rate on a route, but you can find it any time. If a Pokemon has a better encounter rate in the wild area, but it only shows up on one of the 9 different weathers, and weather only changes once per day, if you don't change your switch clock, it could take you a really long time to find that Pokemon. I taken all these factors into account and created a metric that I am calling the rarity score, which I hope will accurately give a good numerical indication how truly rare a Pokemon is by considering the difference between overworld and random encounters and
the limo is broken. Carry me. Sorry, Jaffa, you can't come. So Gold just drove us back to the start.
That encounter rate is done via the random grass encounters or fishing, it stays the same. However, if that rate is for an overworld encounter, the effective rate gets doubled because, as I said, if you can see multiple Pokemon at once, you're going to find what you need faster. The 2 times multiplier is admittedly subjective, but I figure just a simple multiplier of 2 is what made the most sense. Then you take into account how many different places it is found. For example, if it's found on one route at any time, that's a location number of 1. However, if it's only found under a specific type of weather that changes once per day, that's an effective location number of 1/9, since there are 9 different weathers. Since weather seems to be determined randomly, you have a 1 out of 9 chance to get a particular weather on a particular day. So, therefore, if it's only found on one weather, you're only going to find that Pokemon on average 1 out of every 9 days. So, that definitely to account and make the Pokemon rarer than it would be if it could be found on a route at any time. So you take the Pokemon's effective encounter rate and multiply it by the effective number of locations. If the rates are different in different locations, then you multiply that rate by that location number.
Kinda getting scared in case someone's actually got a shot in this map. But while I'm going, now I can stop being scared.
Considered to be extremely rare in Pokemon's world. Stone Shorter is found on Route 10 with a 2% random grass encounter time. It is also found at the Lake of Outrage, but only under Sun at a random grass rate of 2%, and under Sandstorm at a random grass rate of 5%. So that works out to 2 times 1 plus 2 times 1/9 plus 5 times 1/9, resulting in a rarity score of 2.777. So now that you hopefully understand how a rarity score works, let's go through several Pokemon that are considered widely to be some of the rarest in these games and figure out exactly how rare they are. Ice-Cube is
1 HP!
shorter,
1
surprisingly has an identical rarity score.
Come on, I need to heal up, game. 1 HP, I'm literally not even kidding. If anyone looks at it says 1, I'm shocked and I'm so happy. I can get to full health and full shield with it.
Also has a 1.777. Feebas is a pretty rare Pokemon, only being found by fishing in Route 2 with a 1% encounter rate. Fishing is not overworld, so the 1% is unchanged, but it can be found during any weather on any day, so it's a full location number. Therefore, 1% times one location means its rarity score is 1. Sizzlipede is in a near identical situation. Ignoring the guaranteed encounter in the Monostoke Gym, it's only a 1 encounter rate on Route 3 randomly in the grass. This also makes a rarity score.
Oh, I hate that.
Another Pokemon that's pretty rare is Rotom. It is only found at the Lake of Outrage when it is either raining or thunderstorming. However, it's an overworld encounter, so based on my formula, its 2% encounter rate gets doubled to an effective encounter rate of 4%. 4 times 2 ninths gives a rarity score of 0.88. Dreepy, the base form pseudo-legendary for Generation 8, is also quite substantially rarer than its evolution Dracloak. It is only found via random grass encounters, again at the Lake of Outrage, under 3 different weathers. Storms, it's found at a 2% rate, and when it's overcast, it's found at a 1% rate. This creates a formula of 2 times 2 ninths plus 1 times 1 ninth, giving a rarity score of 0.555. Hitmontop is pretty rare too, actually being the rarest of the Hitmon line. It's an overworld encounter in the Lake of Outrage, so its 2% rate gets bumped to 4%. However, it's only during overcast weather, meaning its rarity score is only 0.444. Togekiss is in a similar situation. It's only in the Dusty Bowl in foggy weather with a 2% overworld encounter rate. It's a preset flying encounter, which is Braviary or Mandarin 98% of the time, but since you can still see it in the overworld, it gets the rate bumped to 4%, meaning another 0.444 rarity score. Mimikyu is also quite rare. Excluding its potential as a strong spawn, which is what I've been doing this whole time, it can only be found in Giant's Mirror under foggy weather. It's a random grass encounter with only a 3% encounter rate. 3 times 1 ninth gives a rarity score of 0.3. But none of these are the rarest Pokemon. There are actually 8 Pokemon with even lower rarity scores. In Sword, the first is Flygon. It can spawn as a strong spawn in the Dusty Bowl, but in the Lake of Outrage, it only has a 1% encounter rate and only during intense sunlight. It is an overworld encounter though, so the effective rate gets bumped to 2%. That multiplied by 1 ninth gives a rarity score of 0.222. In Shield, Haxorus is in the same situation as Flygon. Places as a strong spawn, but in the Lake of Outrage, it only shows up during thunderstorms with a 1% overworld encounter rate, giving it another 0.222 rarity score. It should be noted that Flygon and Haxorus are not version exclusives, they just have substantially different rarities depending on the game, so they're pseudo-version exclusives. However, there are 6 other Pokemon that also have rarity scores of 0.222 that I consider to be the rarest Pokemon in Sword and Shield, not Flygon or Haxorus. The reason for that is that these other Pokemon can't be found anywhere else, whereas Haxorus and Flygon can be found as strong spawns. I know I said I was excluding strong spawns, which I have been doing this whole time, except when you have a tie, and some of them can be found elsewhere, some way, excluding max raid battles, that's the only way. The one where it's the only way, those ones are rarer. The true rarest Pokemon are Dino, Hakamo-o, and Turtonator in Sword, and in Shield they are Gumi, Sliggoo, and Drampaw. All 6 of these Pokemon can only be found at the Lake of Outrage doing random grass encounters with a measly 2% encounter rate under 1 weather each, giving them all rarity scores of 0.222.
I don't know why this game doesn't like giving me shotguns.
Found in intense sunlight, and Hakamo-o, Sliggoo, and Drampaw are only found in thunderstorms. All of these Pokemon can only be found at the Lake of Outrage, only doing random grass encounters with only a 2% rate and only under 1 weather, and in the game other than max raid battles. These are definitively the rarest Pokemon in Sword and Shield, at least in regards to the Aaron, you should breed it for your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and an extra special thanks to my patrons for supporting me over on Patreon, giving me some income that's independent of the fickle YouTube ad revenue. If you want to help support the channel and make my income more simple. Links in the description. Also, don't forget to check out the merch.
Okay, so I think
Greetings, movie fans! Michael here, and since I started shiny hunting in Pokemon Sword and Shield over on my Twitch, I've been getting a lot of questions as to what my thoughts are on the new Generation 8 Pokemon shiny
I'm not
versions.
trying to show
So
off
I
here.
figured it best to make one all-encompassing video to answer those questions, where I give my thoughts on every
Hi,
single
Mom.
new shiny Pokemon from Generation. Now I know some of you wanted more of a ranking format, like a top 10 or a tier list, so to appease those of you who did want that, at the end of the video after I've given my opinion on all of the shinies, I will provide you with my top 5 and my bottom 5 of the new set. Alright, enough intro stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I want to hit 1 million subs soon, and let's dive into my thoughts.
Agency, I'm not gonna get mine. This is
I'm not a
top.
big fan of Grookey's shiny. I feel like it could have been more different, but as of now, it just looks like the Grookey is wilted. Shiny Thwacky looks pretty solid. Again, I wish it had changed. At least it doesn't look like it's dying. Rillaboom is fine, I guess. I think I'm just not really into that particular shade of green. I don't like Scorbunny's shiny very much. I feel like the yellowish orange color doesn't stand out enough from the white. Shiny Raboot is pretty solid, but I'm not in love with it. That shade of gray / brown, wow, I really cannot tell what color that is, isn't really doing the trick for me. But I like the color change on the rest of its body. Cinderace's shiny is okay, but that same weird coloration that I just can't put my finger on is far more prominent on Cinderace than it was on Raboot, so I'm not super into the shiny as a whole. Sobble's shiny is great. Like the other starters, most of its body doesn't undergo a huge color palette change.
Wait one
but the
second,
vibrant
guys.
blue and pink really make it
Best
stand out. The
friends.
same is true for Drizzile. I'm fine with the minimal body color change because the accent colors really pop. And while Inteleon is my least favorite of the final evolved starters, its shiny is fantastic. The dark blue contrasts excellently with the light blue, white, and pink. It's overall a fantastic shiny. Squovet turns a lovely pinkish red color. It looks like it ate too many strawberries, which I think is adorable. Greedent, on the other hand, just looks like it was tossed into Photoshop and had its brightness value turned up. I might like it more if his whole body had that strawberry-looking coloration that Squovet had, but right now this just looks bland. Rookiedeed's shiny is pretty good. I wish the yellow had stayed in the more saturated yellow it is on the regular coloring, and I'm not sure I agree with the decision to make its face mask a lot lighter, because those two coloration changes make the whole Pokemon stand out. But it's still a very noticeable change that overall looks decent. I think Corvisquire's shiny could have been better. I don't like that it's not yellow like Rookidee is, and I'm super into having the dark face mask just turn into a middle-of-the-road gray. I think they should have either kept it dark or totally changed it. Corviknight's shiny is excellent. Changing the color scheme to look more metallic works really well for this steel-type Pokemon, and the dark eyes, legs, and underside of the beak contrast fantastically with that lighter coloration. This thing looks menacing as hell, and I love it. Shiny Gigantamax Corviknight also gets extra points for having its eyes and the lines on its wings glow yellow instead of red. That looks awesome. Blipbug's shiny is fine. It is noticeable, but I wish the yellow changed to a color more different from its primarily blue body. Dottler's shiny is solid. I like that they kept the color change consistent from Blipbug to Dottler. Orbeetle is another very solid shiny. It's very noticeable and looks pretty good. I like Nickit's and Feeble's shinies. I think changing them from regular foxes to silver fox is a cheeky change, and I like the more subtle change from brown to blue on the darker parts of their designs. Gossifleur has a fantastic shiny. Makes it look like a whole new breed of flower from a totally different climate. That is great. I don't like Eldegoss's shiny very much. It's got a bit of a purple tint, but overall it looks somewhat dead. I would like it a lot more if it was more obviously purple. Wooloo is great. Changing a white sheep to a black sheep is extremely logical.
And I've got a shotgun. I should be fine.
Double experience
If I die, it means I'm not good at the game.
I don't know exactly
Play a
why,
lot
but the swap
quicker. I'm
colors
not
there
good at
don't
the
look as
game.
good and throw me off a bit. Choodle is great. Changing a blue turtle to the classic green turtle is pretty fun. Dreadnought is fantastic. It looks kind of like Bowser without clearly being Bowser, which I think was the right call. I also love the dark forest green. I think it's a noticeable improvement over Choodle's shiny. Yamper's looks almost exactly the same and therefore sucks. Bolton's shiny looks more different than Yamper's, but I still wish it would have been even more different. As of now, it just looks a tad too bland. Roly-Coly's would have been more solid in my opinion if all of it had changed to blue rather than just the centerpiece. I feel the same about Car Coal. I understand it's supposed to be hauling coal, but
Wait a second.
the wheels could have turned blue. Colossal's shiny is the best of this evolutionary line because it's almost totally that really nice blue. The entire Applin evolutionary line is great.
Can't,
The red apple to the green apple is super smart.
my friend can't even get away from invites.
Kinda look like they've been zombified, and I hate zombies. I don't like this shiny very much at all. Cramorant looks fantastic. I love shinies that change from one bright and vibrant color to another. Arrokuda and Barrascuda are decent. I don't think they're bad, but they don't stand out to me at all. I think the reddish pink on Toxel looks really good. I feel the same about Toxtricity, but I wish the yellow and blue on the respective forms had changed as well. That would have made them a lot more interesting and unique. Gigantamax Toxtricity unfortunately doesn't look very good because the reddish aura that surrounds a Dynamax Pokemon makes it hard to tell the difference between
Hello?
regular and shiny Gigantamax Toxtricity.
I'm live streaming right now.
Kinda sucks. I don't agree with the decision.
I'm sad and I'm also
The
dumb.
rest of it completely the same.
How?
Plus that blue is the same shape.
I did a stream earlier today. The life or death of Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. It's where at the end I did a match, and if I lost, I'd delete it.
I wish it had been changed.
Our team lost by 1 point,
Hot garbage, though. You can barely tell that this is different.
and it's an extra piece of salt is it was 1 point.
Clobbopus shiny
And I just reached my 2 characters to master.
with shinies in this generation, but
Oh, that's gone.
right on Clobbopus. Shiny Grappled is incredible.
It's literally gone.
An already awesome color scheme into another awesome color scheme. The red and yellow and white just work so well together, and I
You know I'm
love
on stream. So if because if that was true, that'd be clickbait, and we don't do clickbait.
change color as well, maybe to a green color.
Got someone on Fortnite. You know they removed skill-based matchmaking.
They just turned the
when I
blue
said
into a
that,
super pale pink.
I meant
Bad,
like,
but it makes the shiny versions look more bland than the regular versions.
I meant
Gigantamax Hatterene
in-
does not look good though. It's another situation where the red aura makes it difficult to
There's-
tell the difference between the shiny and the regular. Impidimp and Morgrem look great. I love completely different looking shinies. Grimmsnarl also looks pretty good. I wish that really nice blue color from Impidimp and Morgrem
offline because you went on for like 2 days.
Yeah, because my dad's been playing it and I haven't had it in my room. This is in my room.
I like it.
You wanna know what happened today? If you watch the stream back, in what I think it was either my last match or the match before, I was in attack shock and fire against the Ghost Midas.
And therefore is
And then he had the purple attack, I had the green. I killed him,
changes in it.
and you wanna know what
Body
happened?
changes are pretty subtle, and while
I was on 1 HP. I'm not even joking, it was bang on 1.
that dark shadowy center looks super ominous and
When someone came over for a second fight, I didn't get lucky. I died.
shiny Surfetched is much better though. I kind of like how the golden coloring seems to be an homage to rubber ducks. Shiny Galarian Mr. Mime
On
and Mr.
Fortnite.
Mime do not look good.
Yeah,
Looks like
Don't tell me I missed it.
applied to them all over, and ends up just making them look like their photos were taken during the Civil War.
Where's the gun?
And Runerigus look fantastic though. I love the bright green eyes, and by making the rock
No, I'm not joking. Where's my gun?
they succeeded in making Runerigus
If I can't play gun game, I don't see a reason to play games at all.
and Rapidash look pretty solid. My only complaint is that when their mains glow, it kind of makes it seem like the yellow part isn't changing. Galarian Weezing kind of looks like crap. Literally. Galarian, Darumaka, and
There are 2 people here, and I've got one of them dead.
The ice crystals change, and the bright green really stands out.
They were both.
However, I would prefer to see the snow change color to basically any color other
Oh, I got both of them!
like Zen mode.
Can you come on Fortnite so we could do duos after this?
Darker almost gives off the impression
Okay.
hotter, which I like. I don't really have any strong feelings about shiny Galarian.
I've got 3 kills.
Like that its color scheme seems like somewhat of a non.
Anytime I land at the agency, I hope I can get the Midas drum gun. Doesn't happen.
Supposed to be cute, not dead. Shiny all creamy looks pretty solid, but because of the variety of all creamy colorations, I think it ends up being overshadowed a bit. Because it looks like a
It's overpowered.
shiny falling
It's the only thing I'm going to say to anyone who's never used it.
almost as if the armor is bronze instead of gold.
We're all
The gripe is that they didn't change the color of its eye.
Oh, that,
Would have been
I know how to edit.
red or some other bright
There's
color,
some
rather than just
problem
remain
here.
the same. Shiny Pincurchin looks great.
There's a problem if there's a helicopter near my place where I am.
I
Yeah.
can tell
A
there's
lot
a
better than that
helicopter
kind
nearby.
of desaturated
And
purple.
we
The
went
trick-
in the
It
agency
just turns mildly
like
green,
camping now.
which
And
only
then we heard a
succeeds in making it
helicopter
look
fly over
nauseous.
and we went,
I don't like this one very much.
Well, at least that was
Frostmoth also
really neat. I
experiences
was
a
like,
slight change to
hell
being
no.
somewhat green, which I feel just
I'm okay with
I
fighting
would like to
cars.
see both of them change
I
a
really
lot
think
more.
the easy
Stormtrooper has the dark and light areas of its
Two-
body swapped.
I kind of feel bad that you don't have it, because if you did, you'd have Brutus, Agent Peely, Maya.
Ice Cube looks fine to me. It's a bit heavy on the pink for my
I'll be
taste, but
getting
I
it
certainly
soon.
don't
Don't worry.
dislike it. Indeed,
Oh,
it
that's...
looks fine to me.
Then we should have Agent Peely. We could Peely match.
Cool enough to be alright.
Well, that one... No! Yeah, I'm dead. I can't win. I can't win this.
Elephant and Copperado
I can't win. I literally can't win no matter what I do.
bad, but they just look like desaturated and more bland versions of the
Yeah, I can't win.
They could make
Yeah, I literally can't.
all the shiny fossils look like they've been made dead again.
No, they just left when you came online.
From their excellent vibrant colors normally.
I guess they predicted you were coming.
I really dislike how they look. Plus, after that Kabuto hunt and Let's Go, that gave me wrist problems.
Well, that's gonna be my most viewed streams gone as well.
Mashing shiny hunt ever again.
I don't know. I don't think you noticed, but the Plasma and Zombie streams were
In its regular coloring,
my most viewed ones.
I tend to prefer shinies that are far more different. But Gigantamax Duraludon looks much more noticeably different, and
I'm gonna try and install it.
coloring makes it look like the windows are reflecting
Why am I echoing all of a sudden?
rather than during the day, which is pretty cool. The entire
Wow.
Dragapult line have really solid
Now it
shinies.
stopped.
For most of them, really
Hey, I could buy an emote. Battle call.
while it's only really changing the accent colors, it's a dramatic enough change to be quite noticeable.
Should we get a gun game bit of this? Because we didn't get gun game. We didn't get gun game clip.
The blue, which is my favorite color, looks really good on it.
It's just like a...
Like normal. I don't like
What?
to as much because I just simply don't like the color pink as much.
I'm allowed.
But I think it looks pretty solid, and I definitely see the appeal for some people. Eternatus is basically in the same situation as Zamazenta, where I think it looks pretty decent, but I'm just not that into the color pink. Although for Eternatus, I would have liked to see the reddish energy change color, but I suppose since that's the energy
What?
causing Dynamax to happen,
Get the hell away from me! No Pennywise! No.
or those being the Gigantamax forms that I have not already shown.
You know,
Gigantamax Charizard.
does anyone know what my Pikachu go-to Pikachu nickname
My
is?
favorite thing about Gigantamax Butterfree is the
Peekaboo!
but other than that, it doesn't change very much, so I'm not that into it. Gigantamax
I was doing...
has the same issues of
I was...
not different enough.
But
The green
the
on
descriptions
Gigantamax
are
Machamp looks a
time.
little weird to me. I think it
Okay, could you met the up?
So all of it, when you say it together, is night night, sleep tight.
Made it white just like they did with
Oh,
Mega
God.
Guitar, and that was the right call. Those eyes
You wake up with a gold pump. He's about to kill you. He's dead.
Shiny regular Kingler looked cool, and Gigantamax Kingler sticks to the same thing. I feel similarly about Gigantamax Lapras, which keeps the same shiny color scheme as its normal form.
I was doing a live stream
Gigantamax Eevee looks really
with like
I think Gigantamax Eevee is
on like
boring, but
no wait, not a live stream, a Nuzlocke. Not a live stream, a Nuzlocke.
close to the original. I like that shiny Gigantamax Snorlax changes the color.
Not a live stream, a Nuzlocke alone on an emulator. So the star was Pikachu in Pokemon Shield, and I started off with Pikachu.
Colors of the toys and
You know how Mewtwo and Lucario are overpowered?
Alright, so that covers my thoughts on every new generation in shiny Pokemon.
You know how Lucario is really strong and Mewtwo is a legendary?
5 is Mr. Mime/Mime. 4 is the fossils as a whole. 3 is Emperor. 2 is Galarian Farm.
Everyone, hey, I'm an OG, I have the recall expert.
4, I think just
Me,
bad.
no one cares.
2 and 1 are so close to their originals that they may as well just not even exist. And now for my top 5 best. 5 is Inteleon. 4 is Gigantamax Gengar. 3 is Dreadnought, both of its forms. 2 is Corviknight, both of its forms. And 1 is Grapploct. So now that you've watched this video,
I was at Rhyhorn. I sent out Pikachu because I know the 2 Pokemon that.
thanks to my patrons on Patreon.
You want to know a Pokemon? No wait.
Fluctuating YouTube ad revenue. The best way to do that is the link to the Patreon in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out my Pokemon Sword Let's Play on my
Wait,
channel.
if I get 600, if I got that, I could afford Gage or Scorpion.
I really like you.
Gotta catch them all.
I like Raid. I really like Gage.
I just need the bottle pass and I can get a load of
Kids, you ready up? Because I don't know if anyone who watches it is going to make it past the hour mark when it's just me and you talking.
Shiny. You'll be thinking about shiny Pokemon that are easy to get. So I thought it would be fun to go.
I know, but I just realised I've seen a bunch of gun game videos recently, and they blow up. Wait,
The only real disclaimer I have is that
I need views. I need money. Otherwise, I can't afford food.
you're not finding those shiny Pokemon in game. You're being given
No, we
them
don't.
through the internet.
We also do it for fun.
Channel so I can hit that big 1 million sub milestone soon, and let's get started with Generation 1. The games being red, blue, and yellow. Now I know what a